What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here with another opposition preview. Obviously, Sheffield United, let's just put that in the past and let's look forward to the next game, which doesn't come any easier, I'll tell you that. We got Everton at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and I've got Thomas from the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. Hi, Thomas.
Hello, how are you? You all right, mate?
Yeah, welcome. Good to have you. Just let's start off with kind of you telling me of, obviously you started the season with Marco Silva, now Don Carlo at the Reign. Tell me what changes has been made, because you've had massive improvements to your season, haven't you?
There's been a massive tactical shift, really, under Marco Silva. We operated a 4-2-3-1, which fans kind of got sick of. We often had two kind of defensive midfielders on the pitch all the time. And now we've gone to a 4-4-2, which kind of transitions into a 3 at the back. I don't know if you've watched many of our games. It's quite confusing to explain to me. I'm not really big on tactics. But we're much more defensively resolute now. That was really important against Leicester. Obviously, we didn't have the most possession, but we were just much better defensively than we have been. We don't capitulate as easily anymore. You know, games like the Leicester game, we probably would have just given up when they got a goal back. But since then, Ancelotti's made us a lot more defensively resolute, as I said. And going forwards, he seems to have inspired Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin into obviously the best form of their lives, and hopefully that can continue.
And in terms of kind of moving forward under Ancelotti, how far do you think he can take you?
Well, obviously the hope's always Europe, eventually maybe Champions League football. I think next season we'll build on kind of the progress made this season. I think we'll be lucky if we get into the Europa League now. There's so many teams kind of around the same points, and it'll be tricky to get in now. But I mean, we've got an outside chance. But I think the hope always has to be Champions League football, especially with a manager of his pedigree. And obviously, it might take a couple of seasons, but I definitely think we've got the structure in place now. You know, he's a world-class manager. We've got a fairly young squad overall, very promising. We've got a good structure behind the manager as well, Director of Football Marcel Brands. We make a lot of young signings. So hopefully, with his experience kind of partnered with the kind of up-and-coming squad, I think the hope always has to be Champions League. Whether that's going to happen or not, obviously we've been waiting for that to materialise since, you know, Roberto Martinez quite a few years ago now. But hopefully, Champions League. Probably. Well, yeah, obviously we did get in that one season and got mugged off in the qualifier rounds, but we won't focus on that too much. The Duncan Ferguson header, yeah, I mean the hope has to be Champions League, I think.
But let's talk about the game. When you look at Spurs, what do you see, and are you confident going into the game?
At the moment, I'm more confident than I was, especially after last night's game against Sheffield United. I mean, I think he started the two games well out of the restart, to be fair. A good point against United. And then, obviously, beating West Ham, your rivals, nothing better than that. But, I mean, I've seen a couple of clips of the Sheffield United game. I mean, just some of the defending just looked a bit of a joke. I can't remember which goal it was when they cut it back and kind of no one was tracking the run. Yeah. But I think after seeing that, I'm a lot more confident. I think we might carry more momentum into the game. We've had quite a good restart, to be fair. And I think momentum is massive at the moment because everyone's struggling for fitness, really. So if you've kind of got the confidence to kind of keep going when everyone's kind of, you know, on their last legs, I think that'll be quite important in the game. As I said, I'm more confident than I was. But when I look at Spurs, obviously, very good side. And Mourinho knows how to set up a side defensively, as we all know. And I know we spoke earlier on our channel about you've got less going forwards than he did under Pochettino. But, you know, players like Harry Kane, always a massive threat. Heung-min Son, I still think is massively underrated in the league, to be fair. I think he's just such a threat. And I think it would be an interesting kind of tactical battle between the two managers because both are happy to defend and counter-attack, I think. So it'll be interesting to see kind of who takes hold of the game, really, takes hold of possession. But yeah, hopefully we can get a win. I'm definitely more confident than I was last week.
Yeah, and I'm probably a lot less confident than I was last week. Really is. But how did Everton win this game, do you reckon?
An early goal, I think.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, we've spoken about kind of a confidence issues for Spurs, and we saw against Leicester, we went 2-0 up very early on, and we're happy to defend. We've got a much better defensive structure now under Ancelotti, and I think now if we get an early goal, maybe 1 or 2, we're happy to see out the game. Whereas maybe under Marco Silva, we got a goal, you still believe you're going to lose, So I think we're much better under Ancelotti, kind of holding on to a lead. And if, as you said, Spurs are kind of, the players are lacking as much confidence as they are, maybe, or the mentality isn't quite there, I think we'll win the game. I think whoever gets an earlier goal will have a massive advantage. But I feel if we score early, I think we should probably go on to get the 3 points.
And on the flip side of that, where do Everton's vulnerabilities lie? Where can we hit you?
At the moment, I'd probably say central midfield. We don't have any kind of defensive presence, really. Obviously, we've had Gbamin, but he's been injured all season. We haven't seen him at all. Schneiderlin's left to go to Nice. I want to say this. I think I've forgotten that. But we have no kind of defensive presence in central midfield, which is all right when you're kind of defending in kind of a 4-4-2. Because it's less important, but I think counter-attacks especially, we could be quite vulnerable for, especially if we start Sigurdsson and Gomez, because Sigurdsson always naturally wants to go further forwards. And Gomez, as much as he tries, and I think his defensive output has improved, it's still not, a defensive midfielder as such. So I think that's probably our biggest weakness, and where we need to strengthen the most, and especially for the game, because we will have to defend. I think that's quite obvious. As defensive as people like to call Mourinho's, you've still got a lot of very good attacking players, some good creative players as well, like Dele Alli. But I think we're quite solid on the wings. To be fair, I think Coleman and Digne have been a great partnership.
I really like
defensively.
The left back.
Digne, and Keane and Holgate seem to be the form of their life in the last. Holgate the whole season, kind of the last few games, when he hasn't had a crowd on his back, it seems like. But I think central midfield is always my biggest concern, and obviously you never know when Pickford might make another howler. I mean, he almost did against Leicester, let the ball go through his hands. That was quite concerning. But overall, I'm quietly confident. I don't know how quiet I am, but I think I'm quite confident now going into it.
When you just spoke about Gylfi Sigurdsson, obviously he played for Spurs before. I think you bought him off Swansea, right? And then we sold him to Swansea after buying him from Swansea. But at Spurs, I always felt that his technical ability and his technique of shooting absolutely second to none. But I'm not sure what else he offers in a football match. Am I being too harsh?
No, I actually completely agree, to be fair. I mean, he much prefers kind of playing as a central cam, kind of in a 4-2-3-1, the attack midfield role. And he's had to adapt massively to 4-4-2. It's a completely different role altogether. And I think it kind of exposes what he's bad at, which is running, defending, things like that. But I think last season he was brilliant, playing as the number 10, the central role.
But that's his
position.
This
season, that's the position, and it massively highlights how much that is his position when he's asked to play somewhere else. Because I don't think he's brilliant at centre mid. As much as he says he likes to kind of that he wants to adapt that position, I don't think he really can. It seems he's just an attacking player, really. And at times on the Marco Silva, he kind of almost played as a second striker, kind of when we were pressing from the front. And I think, as he said, his shooting obviously is brilliant. I think he's only scored 1 goal this season, saying that. Wow. But I just think he's a much more central attacking midfielder than I think most players in the league. I think a lot of players are more versatile than him, but he seems to be one of the few midfielders that aren't that versatile and kind of have to play in the central attacking midfield role if they're going to kind of offer any output.
That's interesting. And one more player I wanted to talk to you about was Pickford, who you just mentioned as well. I've seen a lot of mixed reactions about Pickford, and obviously he definitely has a mistake in him, that's for sure. Would you look to kind of replace Pickford?
Personally, no. I don't think for his age, especially, there are many keepers out there at the moment who could offer what he does. On his day, he's absolutely brilliant. I think as many mistakes he's made, he's probably saved us more than he's cost us. I think his reactions are very much up there with keepers in the league. He does have the occasional howler he is still fairly young. Obviously, we all know goalkeepers can go for much longer than outfield players. So I think the best is definitely yet to come. But he also gets a lot of bad press. He's very reactionary to kind of like crowds, and it doesn't serve him well in the media, and especially fans on Twitter and everything. But personally, I wouldn't sell him, especially because we'd have to demand a very high fee for him to try and get a goalkeeper of his age, of his ability, I think. And obviously, we look at players like, obviously I don't want to bring up Chelsea too much, but we look at Kepa over at Chelsea, similar age. He's awful. I mean, they spent, 80 million on him, which is a massive waste of money. It doesn't sound like Lampard likes him at all. And I think if you're looking at young keepers at the moment, there aren't a lot, to be fair. I mean, you look at the top goalkeepers in the league, you look at De Gea, Dubravka at Newcastle even, they're kind of in their prime, kind of, 28 to 32 kind of area. Pickford's not quite there yet. So I think, as frustrating as he can be, we haven't really had a particularly young keeper like him in recent years. We had Tim Howard for a very long time.
Yeah.
Obviously, he kind of went through his youth stage at Manchester United before he came over to Everton. And I just think he will be a brilliant keeper, but he's such a frustrating player to watch. And it doesn't help your nerves watching him, to be fair. But I do think he'll be a brilliant keeper. I don't think we should sell him.
When you were talking about Pickford there, it just reminded me a lot of Hugo Lloris. I mean, obviously Hugo Lloris is a lot older than Pickford, but in terms of he's always got a howl on him, he's got great shot-stopping ability. They seem very similar keepers to me. I'm not sure what Pickford's like in kind of rushing out into like a sweeper keeper kind of thing, but I think they seem pretty similar.
He likes to.
Yeah.
He does it. I think he does it less often than I've seen Lloris kind of risk it all.
Yeah, Lloris just risks it all, literally.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's great. And last but not least, I'm going to ask you to give us a score prediction.
Well, I hate predictions. I mean,
I think we all do.
We're in very good form. I'd say hopefully we can get an early goal. But I can't see both teams not scoring. I'll go for a 2-1 Everton.
2-1 Everton.
Yeah, hopefully.
So obviously you're unbeaten since the restart, haven't you? So you played Leicester, Liverpool, and who else? And Norwich. Yeah. So yeah, you've had a very good start. I think I really think it goes down to who gets that first goal. I think if we get the first goal, I think our confidence will grow during the game. If we don't get that first goal, it could get a bit nasty for us.
I agree. Yeah.
I'm going to go confident. I'm going to go. I don't know. I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs, with Spurs taking the lead, taking a 2-goal lead, and then you grabbing a goal back. I think that's literally the best we can hope for in this game, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it would have been a different game if there were fans there, though.
Definitely, I think crowds matter massively in the tight games. I think this will be in kind of the 1-goal swing kind of game. Exactly. And to be fair, I'm a lot more confident now in a 1-goal kind of swing game than I used to be. So I think even if we do go down, I'll still be confident that we can still find something.
All right, brilliant. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks a lot for coming on. If you haven't checked out already, go check out the channel Toffee Blues on YouTube. The link will be in the description below. After the game on Monday, we'll be doing a live phone-in show where everyone can get their views. So, Thomas, if you fancy coming on and having a chat after the game, you're more than welcome. I'll send you the link for that. But yeah, thanks for coming on. Like, subscribe, and comment below. And as always, come on, you Spurs.